Hi everyone, this is Clara with Card Stampin' with Clara. Hope you're having a good weekend here. Everything is good here in North Carolina as far as I know. I wanted to bring a couple of things to your attention before we get into card making today. First of all, we have a new host code right here for the month of August. And if you should spend less than $150, be sure and use that so that it helps me and it also helps you to build a free gift. The other thing is that the new catalog for the Christmas and Thanksgiving and what have you is coming out the 1st of next month. So it's on the horizon. It won't be much longer. And if you'd like to have a catalog, please contact me. You can go to my website where it says contact me and leave me a message and I'll be sure to get you a catalog out. This is the month to be sure and use your bonus coupons. If you bought something in July, then August is the time to use them. And that way you get a little free product. And I guess that's the most of what's going on with Stampin' Up! Right now. Today we're going to be making a card using the Daisy Delight set. And this is the card we're going to be using, or we're going to be making. I made it into a Get Well card. And it's got the big daisy on the front of it. Then on the inside it says, wishing you a quick and complete recovery. So I'll show you how to make this in a few minutes. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you the things that I used to make that card. And also show you the other kinds of cards that I made from that set. The first thing that you'll need to make this card is a Daisy Delight photopolymer stamp set. And I use lots of the things in this. Of course, this is the big daisy, and then there's the little flower, and you have a two-step stamping process for this. This is the center of the flower. You've got some stems and a big old thank you here in the middle, and your thoughtfulness brightened my day and for your kindness. So this is a really nice set. I found out that I could do way more with it than I thought. I also use this Healing Hugs. As you've probably noticed, I like this wishing you a quick and complete recovery. You don't have to use this. You can put something else on the inside, or you can write your own personal note. So it's kind of optional, but this is a really nice set to have if you have many Get Well cards. And I also use the Well Said stamp set to get my front sentiment, which is Get Well, and it's right here. But there's lots of other sayings here, and this Well Said stamp is a cling stamp, and it's got lots and lots of words. So this is a good staple item to have. I also used one of the Layering Circles framelits, which is this large one here. And as you can see, there's many framelits that come in this set. Another staple item. And I really do like this little frame. Well, this die is just called a die, I guess. But this is the one I used to cut out the Get Well. And I'll show you how pretty that is in a minute. It's stitched and what have you, and it's just perfect for a small sentiment. And last but not least is the Daisy Punch. So I use this. This is the larger Daisy Punch. If you look in the catalog, there's also a smaller one now, but this is the larger one. Okay. Now then, I'll show you what I did with it. I made a happy birthday card. I used the little flower and stamped over it. And when I stamped over these two-step flowers, I stamped off one time, and then I stamped over the outlined flower, because if you just go down in the ink one time and you don't stamp it off, it's really a little bit dark. So to get the little bit lighter effect, you might want to stamp it off. And on the inside, I put a little flower, and the sentiment that you've seen me use before: hope your day brings just what it should, happiness, health, and everything good. And of course, the happy birthday on the outside. I also used different colors, and I made this a get well card too. This one has got gold around it. I was thinking fall, that maybe we could do something that looked a little bit like fall on some of these cards. So I used, actually this is the cherry cobbler, and I used the Cajun craze, I believe, and maybe it was the pumpkin. But anyway, with these two, I stamped off one time before I put that smooth stamp over the outline of the flower. And on the inside, I put thinking of you with loving thoughts and prayers. I put another piece of gold underneath. And I thought that added a really nice touch to this particular card. It's simple, but pretty. This one is a Miss You card. This is some of the pretty pressed flowers DSP, this background piece is. And so I used that, and then I cut out the daisy in, I believe this one is probably So Saffron. And then I used the Blushing Bride for the pink. And I colored in some little pink sprigs from one of the other sets. I popped that out. And on the inside, I didn't write anything on this one. It's, you know, maybe something you'd want to use to write somebody a little letter, you know, that moved away or something. So I just stamped in these little flowers and down in the corner, and then it left lots of room to write to your friend or what have you. This one I made a birthday card out of again. And this one I did in the Melon Mambo. And I embossed it in white. That's how I got that effect. And I used one of the faceted gems. And honestly, for this stalk and leaves, I just cut those out. And then I decided that I wanted them a little darker, and I went over them and colored them with some shaded spruce. But this is also embossed, the happy birthday is. And I put another one of the little jewels that comes in the Melon Mambo color. And there again, I used the same birthday wish with another flower on the inside. So it's a little bit of a different color combination, but when I got finished, I thought that looked pretty nice. This one, I used a piece of DSP that I had, and then I stamped a little bit on the background with the leaves and things, but you can't really see that real well underneath the, maybe you can a little bit underneath the daisy. And these I kind of curled up, and the way you get this, you'll see in a minute, is you cut out two daisies, and then you offset them and stick them together. And I had a tiny little punch that I got somewhere, and I just thought those little flowers might look nice, just scattered around, so I added that to it. On the inside, I put your thoughtfulness brightens by day, put some little butterflies and another little flower on the inside. So that one's a little bit different. This one, I had seen this layout somewhere, and so I decided I would try it using a piece of DSP, and then I stamped the flowers and tied a little bow, and used some of the little bling pieces that were of the same color. And on the inside, I used the same coloring and put the flower in the same sentiment. And last but not least, I put 3 big daisies on this. That might be just plenty. I'll just put it that way. But I thought I'd give it a try and see how it looks. You don't often know until you try. And tied a green bow and stamped a happy birthday friend on this one. And then on the inside, the same sentiment, the same birthday sentiment. So I hope you like these. Hope it gives you some ideas of cards that you can make. Like I said, a lot of times for me, it's just a matter of starting and trying. It amazes me. I think, oh, I don't have anything. What am I going to do? And I start cutting paper, and the first thing I know, I've got a card. So I'm going to slide these out for the card today, and we'll lay this card back down so you can see what we're making. We always start with the card base. This time it's going to be in a horizontal orientation instead of a vertical. And it's still 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, scored at 4 1/4. And I went ahead and did this just for saving of time because it's very simple. It's just a layer of gorgeous grape that is 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. And then it's a layer of purple posy that is 3 3/4 by 5. And I stamped it in the gorgeous grape and also stamped a little flower in here to match the outside. So there's the card base. We'll finish up in a few minutes. And for the front, this is what I have. We're going to use a layer of this gorgeous grape again, and it will be 4 inches by 5 1/4. And this one is going to be 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And we're going to have a piece of the Woven Threads DSP. I really like this purple that's got this little peacock color in it, and it seemed to match this really well. It's just 1 1/4 inches by 5, which we'll layer on top of that in a few minutes. And I have a little piece of the gorgeous grape that's 1/4 inch by 5 to make that band, to make a, kind of act as a separation between the top and the bottom. I cut out the largest smooth circle die, if I can get it picked up here. And then this is a pearlized doily that we're going to layer on top of it. And it just gives it a solid look coming through instead of picking up the different designs on the card. Makes it look a little bit better. This is the way that you get the daisy effect. To make it look full is what I'm trying to say. I mean, it looks like a daisy, but you just offset it when you put it together. So I'll show you about that in a few minutes. And here's the little piece that I stamped Get Well and cut out. Let me show you how pretty that is with the little stitching all around it. At least I like it. Okay. Now then, what I want to do is pull out this little flower. And then where it stamps just a little bit of the color in the back. And I'm going to show you how I did this because it's called two-step stamping. And I need to get me a sheet of paper. I forgot to pull out a scratch sheet of paper. I use things from our office. Okay. All right. And I need the gorgeous grape ink pad. And the only other thing that we will need in finishing is these faceted gems. So I'm going to lay those right there. All right. First thing we're going to do is get this stamped up. I'll reach back here and get a couple of small stamps since we're going to be stamping all over the place. All right. This ought to work good. I've got some of these little blocks. But these are the two, and as you can see, they have absorbed some of the color, but it doesn't make any difference. That won't come off on your card once you've cleaned them. All right, the first thing I did was I took this stamp, which is the one with the design in it, and I'm going to stamp it off one time here just to make sure that the ink is getting all over the stamp. But I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be stamping it off like I am the other one. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this in different ways. Excuse me, I seem to have indigestion from lunch today. And these little flowers, and you see right there, I didn't quite get it. And I'm going to try to get as close as I can over it. And what I found out last night was even if it's a little bit off, when I stamp off and put in the background, it's hardly noticeable at all. So that's what I'm going to do. And if it does bother you, then you can always flip it over and start over. I'm not going to today. I'll see how it looks. Let me put it that way. If it looks really bad when I put the second layer on, then I will. Or what you can always do, and which is maybe the better thing to do right now, is just flip it upside down. You know, Clara can find all kinds of ways to cover up mistakes. I've told you that. We won't need all this down at the bottom anyway. And if I turn it this way and stamp some of these little flowers in the other way, then our daisy will cover up the blooper, which is, you know, it's not bad, but maybe one more right here. But you kind of want them turned in different ways. All right, see, that doesn't take but just a second to do. Well, let me get my chamois here to clean that off a little bit. But this little tiny stamp has just been, to me, you wouldn't think, oh, you know, that doesn't look very impressive. But I really like that little stamp, and it really has enabled me to do several different things. All right, this is what I'm talking about stamping off. You stamp off one time like that, and then what you're going to do is you're going to try to line it up the very best you can. And then you see it puts that light colored gorgeous grape on it. You don't want it real dark. So each time you just turn it so that it kind of matches the flower. Try to remember not to forget to stamp it off. But I wanted you to see this because it's a little bit different than just regular stamping. I mean, most people can take a stamp and stamp, you know, just simple stamping. And this is not complicated. I don't mean to imply that it is, but if somebody's talking about two-step stamping and you've never done it, then you might not know what they're talking about. So this is what I'm referring to as two-step stamping. So, whoops, I almost forgot. I don't want to get, if you don't think it's stamped off properly, just go back in and get you a little more ink and then stamp it off evenly. Let's see, these down here at the bottom are, because I turned it around, I wouldn't have put as many on there. But since I turned it around, I won't really need those. They're going to be covered up. So I'm going to do this last row right here just in case the DSP doesn't cover it up. But I know this is going to be covered up by the flower anyway, but let's see. Let's see how this looks, even though, okay. It's a little bit darker, but it's all right. Okay. So, as you can see, even though there's several stamps, several flowers, it didn't take that long to do that one little bit. All right. Probably better try to get some of this ink off my hands. I have the worst time trying to not get ink on my cards. That is a difficult thing. Now this is going to go here at the bottom, and as you can see, that's still going to stick out a little bit. But when we put on the rest of this, you're going to see it's covered. So anytime you can turn something a little bit, or just to make it work a little bit better, do it. I mean, you don't want bloopers shining on the front of your card if you can help it. This just goes right down at the very bottom, which is simple enough. Sometimes I do this and try to make sure that the edge is even. Then I'm going to take this tiny little strip and put ink down it. Glue, excuse me. I'm liable to say most anything, but hopefully you'll know what I mean, even if I don't say it right. Okay. These little pieces are the they're determined to go all kinds of places. They're hard to hold on to without crushing. All right, I'm going to line up this exactly at the edge. Then I'm going to line it up right across here. And I knew that I had just a tiny bit of more than I needed, and I deliberately cut it that way because if you get it slipped just a tiny bit, then you may come up short, and you don't want to do that. It's easier to nip it off than it is to come up short. Okay. All right, now then. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to glue this doily to the circle of Gorgeous Grape. And I'm going to try to be skimpy with this glue because it's going to make a mess if you get too much on it. These are called pearlized doilies, and I had some in my drawer. They're still available. You can still get them from Stampin' Up. You can also, they have a die that will make doilies too. I have one of the older ones, but I don't have the new one. Okay, let's see if I can get that down. What you try to do is center it as best you can. As best you can is the key. Okay, let's see. And once I get things positioned, I just try to pat them a little bit to get it to settle down and stay where it's supposed to. Pardon me, I'm going to try to get some of this glue and what have you off my fingers. Now then, we're going to take this and glue it to that front piece there that we've been working on. Try not to get too far out to the edge. And I am going to try to center it so there's about as much distance at the top and the bottom and the side here, give or take a little bit, just so it looks reasonably balanced. Now then, we're going to glue this to the Gorgeous Grape piece. Really, stamping and making cards is all about layering, and I think the colors make a world of difference in the appearance of your card. So make your cards the colors you like. I mean, if you like yellow, then get you some yellow DSP that matches the yellow paper that you want to use and go at it. See if I can get that straightened up a little bit. I think that's going to be all right. Okay, now then, I have a little tool here that I've had for a long time, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to use to curl these petals just a little bit. And just to show you that you can do it, like if you had a paintbrush handle, anything that you can just kind of do that. You see? This might work a little bit better, but it can be done with something else if you don't have one of these. You don't have to have everything exactly like I'm using it today. You can use different sentiments. You can, you can do what works for you with the supplies that you have. This is simply to give you ideas. Well, if I can pick it up, maybe. Now this one is being curled under instead of up. You can do it both ways. I think this is the only one that I curled down, but I thought I would try this and see how it looked. Okay, now then, you can take a Stampin' Dimensional. Let me put my lid on my glue here before I squish it all over the place. And I'm going to use this pick your tool and put it right there in the center. Now I do want to show you something about this pick your tool. Last night I was making a card like this, and it was the one I had started with, and I decided I preferred having that circle underneath instead of just having the doily against the card. And I had already put on my flower, for instance. And I took that little spatula end there, which looks like it's got a little glue on it yet. But you can take that thing, if you need to lift something off, and just get down underneath it. It is really thin. It works really well for that. So I couldn't have got it done without it. So I might mention that to you, so if you ever need it. All right, I'm going to leave this one. And then I'm going to put one in the center of either one of these. Doesn't matter. One looks better than the other. I mean, you can put the one that you think looks better on top. And take off the little covering. That's maybe redundant for a lot of you, but somebody might not know. And take this, and the very best you can, put it on top, and let the kind of stagger the petals. Sometimes it works better than others. Looks like this is going to be one of those where it's not working so good. Let me get my little tweezers and maybe I can lay it down there a little bit easier. Okay, like I said, the idea is to go between the petals. All right. I think that's going to be okay. I don't know if those are perfectly the same all the way around or not. I've kind of noticed that in parts of them it seems like that they may be a little bit off, but it may just be me. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cover off. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it down on top in the center, if I can. We'll try to. And one thing you can do that seemed to help was centering it in the doily and then pressing it down onto the Stampin' Dimensional. So that worked pretty nice. All right, now then, I'm going to take this Get Well, put a little glue on the back of it. I decided I didn't think I wanted to use dimensionals on this. Not this time anyway. Let me hold it. Just put a little bit of glue on it. And I thought here was the best place. What you want to do is get that as straight as you can and balance there again. The very best that you can. All right. Now then, we're going to take this and glue it onto the card base like that. I guess I have become a fan of purple. It's bright, and I guess I just like bright colors. Yeah, okay. I thought, oh please, hopefully I'm not going to glue this on upside down. Okay, that looks pretty even. Press that down. And we'll put our little gem in the middle, and we'll be finished since I've already done the inside. If there's parts of something that you want to see, let me know what would be beneficial. I try to remember to do the things that I think might help you, especially people that are just getting started. Okay. These faceted gems do come in a gold color too, and that's nice if you've got yellows and golds and things like that. But I thought with this purple, the Gorgeous Grape, I should call it. Let me call it its proper name. That with the Gorgeous Grape, it actually looked better with the clear. All right. There you go. A Get Well card. And it looks pretty on the inside too. So who wouldn't love to get that? All right. If you would please, if you haven't, push the subscribe button. I'd appreciate that. And if you should need a product, I would love to have you as a customer. And my host code there again is right here. And it's also on the website. You won't have any trouble finding it. It's in a couple of places. It's on the main page. So, you know, that's easy enough to find. But do be sure and use it so that I know, you know, give you credit for your purchases and what have you. Because I have a stamp club wherein you get a stamp for every $25 you spend. And you can read all about that. And when you get so many, you get a free gift. So, anyway, I hope this has been beneficial. I hope that you will enjoy making this card. And maybe one of the others might even appeal to you more. Who knows? But you have a good day, a good week. The good Lord bless and keep your family. And I'll see you again in a week. Thank you very much.